have three members of my audience. CRP, what it is, when it started, and how it works. When I was young, I heard the acronym CRP and wondered, what is that? I immediately thought CPR. However, the meanings of these two acronyms are very different. When I got older, I realized that the large amount of farmland in my county that were in grass for years and never changed were the CRP fields. I asked my parents about it and they said that would be a great thing to research and learn about. I did some research and found this question. Would you like to get paid not to farm? CRP is the acronym for the Conservation Reserve Program, not cardiopulmonary resuscitation. CRP, started in 1985, is a federal program providing incentives for farmers to retire environmentally sensitive croplands for a certain number of years. Environmentally sensitive cropland is a cropland that has some sort of degrading factor. One degrading factor that will allow a farmer to put land into CRP is marginal to highly erodible lands. Erosion occurs on steep slopes with loose soil on top of hard ground. The United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, has stated it is better for the long-term health of the soil to keep these sensitive lands out of production and covered instead with grass and trees. The root systems of the grass and trees keep the soil from eroding by holding the dirt and moisture in place. This helps retain soil nutrients and restore the nutrients that the harvested crops have taken. Conserving soil isn't the only attribute of CRP. It also conserves and enhances wildlife habitat. Having tall grasses growing in large amounts allows small animals to create nests and burrows to live in without being disturbed by human activity. The wind erosion of the Dust Bowl in the 1940s started the process of Congress members coming up with the idea of CRP to fix the Dust Bowl problem and keep it from reoccurring. CRP was officially created in 1985 and signed into law by President Ronald Reagan. Current supporters of CRP are pushing to decrease CO2 emissions and improve the climate by decreasing the amount of farm equipment. According to agricultural and environment consultant Ferd Hilfer, it's not a great climate solution. Tatiana Monet, in her article, A Program That Pays Farmers Not to Farm Isn't Saving the Planet, says that the effects of CRP in lowering CO2 emissions is not easily measurable. The 10 to 15-year-long contract is not a sufficient amount of time to make a difference in the climate change. Ms. Monet also states that the incentives to farmers are not as attractive as crop production incomes. CRP pays an average of $82 per acre. A normal crop season with wheat prices at $6 per bushel, 60 bushels an acre. The price per acre is $1,200. So a 1,000 acre field would have a $1,200,000 value. The most concerning effect of CRP is that it reduces the food production of the United States. The U.S. has 900 million acres of farmland in production as of 2022. If the current 5 million acres that are in CRP were producing crops, that would be 300 million more bushels feeding the world. Fields in CRP that have a net product of 0. So no food is going into the country, which means that this creates a ripple effect by less food going into markets, less food being exported, and less food going to those who need it. CRP also creates a negative effect on the economy by reducing the amount of farm machinery in use, which leads to less mechanics needed, less equipment purchased, and less seed and fertilizer purchased. The effects keep going. Wheat is used in flour, corn is used in cooking, and the grain trucks that aren't driving aren't using fuel. CRP also takes away jobs of truck drivers, combine drivers, and bankout wagon drivers, and the ripples just keep getting wider. So I will conclude. After all my research, I understand that CRP is a federal effort to conserve soil, moisture, and restore nutrients. CRP also preserves wildlife habitat. CRP was created in response to the Dust Bowl fiasco and is currently focused on the controversial issue of climate change. The more I study and learn, the more I understand about CRP and how the effect of on the economy and the country that I live in. Now that you have this information, you can come to your own personal conclusion about the Conservation Reserve Program.